Well, hello everybody. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos about my Amazon author page. I think the last one has been almost about 7 months ago. And I've added a lot more books. In case you haven't seen it, you can go right to Amazon. You can type in my name, Ignacio J. Esteban, as you can see. And you can start seeing some of the books that I have self-published. Kindle Amazon. I have 76 and counting. 76, that's right, 76 and counting. You can see some of them here at the bottom. Now I'll scroll down. Miami's History with the Mafia, pictorial books, Trips to Virginia, American Mafia, and of course some of my books are short reads and some books a little bit longer. Some of them now are an Audible. ATF Undercover now is an Audible, and soon will be The Most Dangerous Crime Syndicates of Our Time, almost a 7-hour listen. I'll show you that in a second. You have a book on Timothy McVeigh, and of course my background with ATF, 26 years of federal law enforcement. I do a lot of true crime. I also do politics. My background also, a bachelor's degree in political science and history. I've been following politics probably since I was a teenager, if not younger. My grandfather was also in politics in Cuba, so I guess this is in my blood. And also do pictorial books, and also done a few books with my daughter. My, at the time, was 11-year-old daughter, now she's 12, on kids' books also. I also have here The Fall of the Mafia and the Rise of Mexican Cartels, Cults, Killers, and Mass Murderers, Infamous LA Murders, Biker Gang books, plenty of those. My background with ATF and the cases I've done. I have done cases with the Hells Angels, the Outlaws, the Mongols. Learned a lot about these guys. Life of Sonny Barger, Full Throttle, Chicago Crime Bosses, The Rise of a Narco Empire, CJ&G. Like I said, I do dictators and politics also. A book out here on Gaddafi. My background again with ATF. A book here I did earlier in my writing career. I think my second book out. ATF, Mexico and the Drug Cartels, the reality after Operation Fast and Furious. Those who want to know a little bit more about it, I give it. Like I said, these books aren't super long. Some of them are a little longer because I do combine them, but some are short reads. If you don't know something about subject matter, they're perfect books. They give you some insight on a certain subject matter you might not know much about, or if you do know something about it, you always find a good nugget. And of course, right here, in my autobiography, ATF Undercover, which is based on my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly of ATF. And I talk about a lot of cases, undercover case I did with repeat violent offenders, gang members, armed drug dealers, international firearms traffickers, domestic firearms traffickers, all kinds of cases, armed home invaders, you name it, and also some of the problems within ATF, and some solutions for issues we have with gun violence, firearms trafficking, and my own personal life. Good things and the highs and also the lows. So interesting read. It's also a good book on Audible. Let me click on here. A lot of good reviews. Doing well. I definitely recommend for those who are writers, if you have a chance. I'm going to give a shout out to Sean Milo. He's a professional voice actor. Did a great job on my Audible. I'm going to give a little sample right here.
Chapter 1, The Academy, FLETC. In 2000, I was working with the United States Customs Service, at the time, part of the United States Department of Treasury, in Miami, Florida, when I received my letter from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF. Later, explosives would be added to the agency's name. The letter stated that I was selected for the special agent position in the Tampa field office. Over 20 years later, I still remember clearly receiving and opening that letter from ATF. That alone was a process to be offered a position as a special agent in the United States government. I was on my way to becoming a G-man. I had been employed with the United States Customs Service for almost 5 years, working at Miami International Airport, MIA, assigned to the Contraband Enforcement Team, known as CET. there was an inbound and outbound CET team. I inspected international flights from Latin America and Europe in the mid-90s. I was part of the team that seized hundreds of pounds of cocaine and heroin entering MIA from South America. As a customs inspector, the hours were very long and irregular, while working in extremely hot, humid conditions or in heavy rain. The cocaine would be smuggled into MIA via commercial and cargo flights in hidden compartments inside large 747 airplanes and smaller 737s, and everything in between. My time with Customs, I dealt with many federal agencies in the federal government, including the ATF, DEA, FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, Immigration, Agriculture, state and locals, including international customs officials from other countries. I applied with numerous other federal law enforcement agencies, including ATF, in a long hiring process with interviews, tests, and detailed background investigations. In August 2000, I reported to the ATF Tampa field office and was sworn in as a special agent. I was given half a credential with no badge and no gun. I had to earn the badge and gun at the ATF Academy in Glencoe, Georgia. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, FLETC, where ATF, Customs, Immigration, Border Control, various Office Inspector Generals, OIGs, Bureau of Prisons, and others have their academies. FLETC had the feel of a large university campus with the stress of a police academy. I was in my late 20s, starting with a new agency and now my second academy at FLETC, my first being with Customs in 1996. The ATF Academy was in two parts. The first part, the basic criminal investigator, CI, class, roughly 9 weeks, and the second part was the ATF Academy, about 12 weeks, separated by 3 months. I returned to my field office in Tampa in between academy classes. CI class was a mixed class of different agents from different agencies, ATF, OIG, and others. My background with Customs assisted me with shooting, handcuffing, and the physical training portion of the academy. I had border authority with Customs for everyone and thing that was subject to search entering the United States from a foreign country. Now, with ATF, I had to develop probable cause, PC, to arrest someone, and beyond reasonable doubt, to convict in a criminal trial. A different set of rules and enforcing now ATF laws under Title 18 and Title 26 dealing with the Gun Control Act, GCA, and National Firearms Act, NFA. One thing with ATF, we are the gun police, and we shoot lots of different types of firearms. Pistols, revolvers, shotguns, rifles, and machine guns. As they say, ATF stands for all the fun. In the ATF Academy, it was only ATF agents, except for the first few weeks, but we also had ATF inspectors, known today as Industry Operations Investigators, IOIs. There, we earned the special in Special Agent, as one of our PT instructors liked to say often. The training blocks consisted of arson, explosives, firearms, shooting, and more shooting. The days were long. Classes started early, with a full day of lessons, practical exercises, tests, PT, and late study sessions preparing for the next day.
All right, folks, that was just a sample, a 5-minute sample from the Audible book there, ATF Undercover, doing really well. And it has, it's about a little less than 2-hour listen. So it's nice. Again, it's about my life and law enforcement, my personal life, about solutions. And again, it talks some about waste, fraud, and abuse. So it's a little bit of everything. If you're curious about what the life of a special agent was, as myself, ATF, my life, it's a good listen or a good read, either way. You can find it on Audible or Amazon, and you can click on that one right here. So go back here. This is back to my Amazon author page. As you can see right here, ATF Undercover, 7 ratings, been rated so far. Plus on the Audible side, have a few more, and then on Goodreads and other places, a lot of good ratings so far. And I'm also as you might know, all over YouTube, Rumble, and other platforms, doing a lot of shows. I've done easy over 100 shows so far with a lot of different people. Shout out to William Steele. We do Steele Spotlight, Hollywood Wade, and the Crime Entertainment, and many others I have done. Just go to YouTube, type in my name or on Rumble, and you can see all the different shows that are part about talking about not just true crime, politics, and everything else. Again, mentioning here about Fast and Furious. If you like topics, weapons, firearms, that's a good topic. Giving a little background on the debacle of gun walking operation that went on back in the early 2000s, and what was the outcome. And it's obviously the guns made to the cartels, but also the corruption in Mexico feeds these cartels that lets them grow also. So I talk about both sides of what's going on here and in Mexico. Again, also biker books, pictorial books. I've done a lot of hiking. I do beautiful pictorial books, hiking in Virginia books, and other vacations I've taken. You can expand. See my author page. Another picture book, Psycho Killers. That's done also really well also. And this one I give a background on some of the most notorious serial killers in the 20th and 21st century. Obviously, I talked to Bundy, Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, Jack the Ripper, also H.H. Holmes, and many others, including Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and the original Night Stalker, D'Angelo. So a lot of interesting stuff. You're fascinated by the mindset, what triggers someone to become a psychopath, a serial killer. Well, I think this book is good, and I've done some shows with Hollywood Wade and others on this topic here. And please feel free to reach out to me on either Facebook or LinkedIn or Goodreads or what have you, and let me know what other topics you think you want me to write about. Like I said, I've done over 76, looking to do some more. Infamous LA murders. This one has to do with some of the worst murders, from the Black Dahlia, O.J. Simpson, the Menendez brothers, Bobby Kennedy being assassinated by Sirhan, the Wonderland murders, the Manson cult family murders with Sharon Tate. So if you like that, I do a little bit, not too deep, but deep enough where if you don't know much about these topics, you get a good feeling. You can look at my bibliography and look at more and see some other interesting movies and documentaries. Many people have found this picture pretty fascinating too. Also, like I said, do politics, and RFK Jr. has been in the news a lot. He is running for the Democratic nomination. Appears though he'll probably run as independent. He's getting very frustrated, a third-party candidate, with what's going on, the shenanigans with the DNC, Democratic National Committee, how they're treating him. No debates with President Biden, not letting him get delegates if he campaigns in Iowa and New Hampshire. They're making it very hard, rigging the system, as he says, and he has to make a decision. And if he does run as a third party, I think it's the end of Joe Biden, because no incumbent has won with a major third-party candidate ticket, with Anderson against Carter helping Reagan, Perot helping Clinton knocking out Bush Sr., and this could be a repeat of history here with RFK Jr. knocking out Joe Biden. So he'll only be taking out more votes, and who knows, maybe he'll pull off the upset, and he will be the first third-party candidate to win in ever. And of course, a lot of mafia stuff. I have here Miami's history with the mafia, talking about, let me get it right here, talking about Miami's interesting history with different organizations, from Al Capone to attempted assassination of FDR, killing the mayor Anton Cermak, possible conspiracy theories with the mafia there, and other groups that have spent time. Al Capone even died in Miami with his mansion 93 Palm Island, which just recently got torn down, does not exist anymore. So a lot of history there and fascinating stories about Miami and its history with the mafia. You can check all this out. Like I said, 76 books and counting. You got One Percenters, Hell's Angels. If you like biker books, this is Full Throttle, Riding with the Hell's Angels, A Life of Sonny Barger. Fascinating story about his life, his times, and even him working as an informant with the government, with the Oakland Police Department, in reference to left-wing organizations, the Black Panthers, Underground, Weather Group, and others, in exchange for consideration for Hell's Angels being released from custody, providing weapons and explosives and other things to authorities there. Fascinating. Sonny Barger in the 70s and 60s, in the late and early 70s, was tried for murder, was acquitted, and many believe that the testimony from the sergeant about his cooperation might have helped him be acquittal of the murder of a drug courier over an $80,000 debt. A lot of interesting things I talked about, things you look into and make your own decisions about. Sonny Barger recently passed away last summer. The face for many people of the Hells Angels, founder of the Oakland chapter. Again, more biker wars, One Percenter book, talking about a little bit more of the different groups between the pagans, the banditos, the vagos, Hells Angels, outlaws, and others. I'll have to do cults also. I've done a few books here dealing with Scientology, dealing with Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid, talking about Jonestown, and I call it a massacre, not suicide, based on what happened there. So if you're interested in this stuff here, you can read more about it. McVeigh in Oklahoma, domestic terrorism. I call the face of domestic terrorism in the United States, Timothy McVeigh. And what events triggered him to commit this horrific actions against our own citizens. Prior military, a war hero, Persian Gulf, becomes the worst domestic terrorist in U.S. history. Executed in June 2001. The Rise of a Narco Empire, CJ&G, Jalisco New Generation. The most wanted drug lord in Mexico and the United States, El Mencho Cervantes. $10 million bounty. El Chapo's was only $5 million after he escaped a second time. So fascinating read here if you don't know much what they're worth. U.S. authorities say that El Mencho's assets are close to $50 billion. That's right, $50 billion. So, and he operates completely different than Escobar and El Chapo does. Does not like to live the life of luxury, modest, hiding, underground tunnels, does not want to be captured. Prior law enforcement also, and was once deported for the United States, being a major heroin trafficker. Not good guy. El Mencho Cervantes. I also do fiction, Winning Wimbledon Against All Odds. Pretty cool if you like tennis and you're an enthusiast. I pretty much talk about a young American who overcomes a lot of obstacles to become the first qualifier to win Wimbledon. Fascinating story, very detailed, especially if you like tennis, about scoring, points, construction, and going through the whole cycle, how he gets there. Fascinating read. Yakuza, pictorial books, sports again, the tragic life of Hector Macho Camacho, his tragic ending, being shot and killed in Puerto Rico. Who killed Jimmy Hoffa? People have theories who was involved, but no one really knows. No one ever has been arrested. No one ever been convicted, and we have never ever found Hoffa's body. A lot of people speculate where it is, but it's never been found. Sports, politics, and true crime. The rise of the mafia and the fall of the mafia, and the rise of the Mexican cartels in the United States. My assessment, Italian mafia is pretty much done in the United States. The cartels are extremely strong with the street gangs. And until we get a handle of the drugs in this country, they'll only get stronger. I always say if the Americans stop using drugs and around the world, the cartels will be out of the drug business. They're involved in other things, but wouldn't be involved in drugs. It's been going on for 50, 60 years, and at this rate, it'll be another 50, 60 years or worse. Well, we're destroyed by fentanyl, the country's destroyed by fentanyl and heroin, cocaine, and other drugs. Evil regimes, like I said, top politics, right there, Xi Jinping, China, Kim Jong-un, many others, Putin, narco wars, what I mentioned before, El Chapo, even though he's in the Supermax, Sinaloa is still pretty strong. El Chapito's also been arrested. His wife was arrested. Many family members, but someone always steps up. CJNG is a big rival in Guadalajara and to be watched out for. Many of these books are going to be made into Audible. This one right here is the next one. The Most Dangerous Crime Syndicates of Our Time. Talks about all these crime syndicates I talked about, the cartels, Italian mafia, the one percenters, Yakuza, street gangs, prison gangs, all is going to be in there. Soon to come out on Audible. Should be a really good listen. If you like Audible, it should be fantastic. You'll be able to listen to it. And again, shout out to Sean Milo, doing a good job. Plenty of books to choose from, as you can see, all different topics. You had one on ATF versus the FBI, the rivalries in the DOJ, personal experiences, what I've seen, what I talk about. Unfortunately, it does happen in every department, every agency has it, and I give examples of some battles within the DOJ. Joe Biden, like I said, do politics, one and done. Things do not look good for the president. He's struggling a lot, mental health issues, it appears, faculties, and of course bad policies being made. And with RFK Jr., it just appears that he'll be a one-term president, possibly worse than Jimmy Carter. So read the book if you like politics. I'll give my assessment, and who I think can step up, well, we'll see what the Republicans have to offer. Maybe we'll be independent, and RFK Jr. will shock the establishment. The son of Bobby Kennedy and the former President Jack Kennedy, JFK. Both tragically assassinated. And by the way, RFK Jr. recently had a close call where a person impersonating a U.S. Marshal was armed, getting close to him at a rally in L.A., only 2 miles away where his father was assassinated in 1968. History almost repeated itself. A lot of pictorial books, gang books. How I wrote and published 50 books in 1 year. That's correct. I'm at 76 in a year and a half. I'm slowing down though. I used to do a lot more, getting involved in a lot more shows and a lot more other things, especially with the family. Las Vegas Mob City, the history of Las Vegas and the Mafia. Interesting story here of Blood, Money, and Oil, the corrupt Saudi regime of MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. If you don't know much about him, I think it's a good read. Just like the thing with Nigeria and Little Rocket Man himself, Kim Jong-un. Plenty of books to choose from, folks. It's almost like a library. If you like organized crime, merchants of death, LA gang wars, one percenters, even my grandfather's paintings. He loved to paint when he retired. I do a pictorial pictures of those paintings. If you like oil paintings. A lot of pictorials, a lot of picture books. And these are some of the kids' books I did with my daughter here also. My Day at the Fair, The Princess and the Ballerina, and Pegasus Saved Christmas. And the first book I started with the evil empire, communist China, where the communist country should never have hosted another Olympic Games. Xi Jinping and the corruption in the IOC is enormous, and there's no reason for a country like that to ever have hosted anything, especially something prestigious like the Olympics. So if you're interested in these kind of books, please take a look at it. You can find it again on my Amazon author page, Ignacio J. Esteban, 76 books and counting, from true crime, politics, pictorials, sports, everything's in there. So check it out, and if you have any other ideas or topics, please let me know. All right, folks, until next time, thank you.